Hello, everyone. Let me start with a question. Are you living your life, or is life living you? Most of us spend too much time waiting for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or someone to give us permission to go after what we want. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. If you want something, you have to go out there and make it happen. Now, this isn't just about big dreams like starting a business or writing a book. This is about the small, everyday choices you make. Every decision you make today is a brick you're laying for the future you'll live tomorrow. If you don't like where your life is headed, it's time to change your blueprint and pick up the tools. Making your own future doesn't require perfection or luck. It requires a plan, persistence, and the courage to act even when you don't feel ready. Stop overthinking and start building. Because the only way to create a future you love is to stop reacting to life and start designing it. Stop waiting, start doing. How often do you find yourself saying, I'll start tomorrow, or once everything falls into place, I'll make a move? We all fall into the trap of waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect set of circumstances. But here's the reality. Waiting is a form of procrastination. It's a way of avoiding discomfort and uncertainty. The truth is, there is no such thing as the right time. The conditions will never be perfect. You will never feel 100% ready. And if you keep waiting, you'll be waiting forever. Time doesn't wait for anyone, and life certainly doesn't slow down to give you the time you think you need. Waiting doesn't move you forward. Doing does. It's that simple. When you start doing, even in small ways, you're immediately moving towards your goal. It doesn't matter if you don't have everything figured out. What matters is that you're creating momentum. Momentum is what fuels progress. Momentum keeps you going even when things get tough. Momentum helps you learn as you go, adjust your course, and build the confidence to continue. So why do we wait? It's fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making mistakes. But here's something powerful. Failure is the fuel for success. Without failure, you can't grow. Without mistakes, there are no lessons. You have to be willing to get messy, to risk looking imperfect, and to take that first step. Don't let your fear of the unknown stop you from making progress. You'll never know if something works until you try it. The act of starting, even in the smallest way, is how you begin to create the future you desire. It's the only way to turn your ideas into action and your dreams into reality. If you wait until everything is perfect, you'll never get started. But if you start, you'll find that the perfect time will never come, because the perfect time is right now. So stop waiting for the stars to align or for someone else to give you permission. Start doing. Take the first step, however small, and keep moving forward. You'll figure out the rest along the way. Your thoughts shape your reality. Let's face it, our thoughts are powerful. They aren't just fleeting ideas that pop into our heads and disappear. They are the foundation of our actions, the fuel for our beliefs, and the driving force behind the lives we create. Whether you realize it or not, what you think about constantly will eventually shape the life you live. Have you ever had that nagging voice in your head telling you that you're not good enough? That you'll never succeed, or that it's too late to change? Those thoughts might feel like simple doubts, but they're far more significant than you realize. If you give them power, if you continue to focus on them, you start to believe them. And the more you believe them, the more they shape your decisions, your actions, and ultimately your future. But here's the flip side. If you change your thoughts, you change your reality. You've heard the phrase, you are what you think, but let's break that down. Your brain is constantly processing and interpreting the world around you. The beliefs you hold, the things you tell yourself, the way you perceive challenges, all of this influences the actions you take. If you think, I'm not capable of starting that business, then you won't take the steps needed to make it a reality. you'll stay stuck in a cycle of doubt and fear. But if you start telling yourself, I have what it takes, and I'm learning as I go, you open yourself up to possibilities. You'll begin to take action step by step and slowly transform your mindset. Your thoughts also determine how you perceive the world. Two people can experience the same event, say a setback at work, but their thoughts about it will define their reactions. One person may see it as a failure, a sign that they're not cut out for success. The other may see it as a lesson, an opportunity to improve and grow. Both experiences are real, but the one who chooses to see the setback as growth is the one who is more likely to keep moving forward, learn, and ultimately succeed. The more you shift your thoughts, the more your perception of yourself and the world will transform. If you constantly think that success is out of reach, you'll never take the risks needed to achieve it. But if you believe that every step, every mistake, and every challenge is part of your journey, you'll begin to embrace opportunities rather than fear them. It's not about being positive all the time, it's about shifting from a mindset of limitation to one of possibility. You don't have to know every answer or have everything figured out, but when you change your internal dialogue from I can't to I will figure it out, you begin to take control of your future. You stop being a passenger in your own life and become the driver. This doesn't mean you'll never face obstacles, you will. But when you change the way you think, you change how you approach those obstacles. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, you'll see them as challenges to overcome and opportunities to grow. The more you focus on solutions instead of problems, the more your reality shifts to one that's full of possibility, not fear. Your thoughts aren't just in your head, they're shaping your life. The good news is you have the power to choose what you think. If you want a future filled with success, opportunity, and growth, start by shifting the way you think about yourself and the world around you. Remember, the thoughts you have today will create the reality you experience tomorrow. So choose them wisely, because the life you want is waiting for you to think yourself into it. Courage is a choice, not a feeling. So often we think of courage as something we either have or don't have, like an innate trait that some people are born with and others are not. We tend to associate courage with the absence of fear, the idea that if we are truly brave, we won't feel afraid. But here's the truth: courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to act despite it. Courage isn't a feeling that magically comes over you when you face a challenge, it's a choice you make every single time fear tries to stop you. The most courageous people you know are not those who feel fearless, they're the ones who choose to take action even when they feel fear, doubt, and uncertainty. And think about it for a moment. You've probably faced situations in your life where fear crept in. Maybe it was the fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown. In those moments, you had two choices. You could let the fear dictate your actions and avoid the discomfort of doing something new, or you could make the decision to push through it, even if it meant feeling vulnerable or unsure. Courage isn't about waiting for fear to disappear, it's about moving forward in spite of it. It's about showing up even when you're not sure how things will turn out. It's about taking the leap into the unknown because you trust that your willingness to act is more important than the fear you feel. And when we wait for the feeling of courage to arrive, we end up waiting forever. Courage isn't about waiting for a perfect moment or a guarantee of success. It's about stepping up even when you're not sure you'll succeed, because you know that doing nothing won't get you any closer to your dreams. This is a game changer. When you realize that courage is a choice, you stop waiting to feel ready. You stop looking for the signs that everything is perfectly aligned. Instead, you decide to act despite the fear, discomfort, and uncertainty. You choose to take the first step and then the next. And the next. It's important to understand that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to do the thing that scares you. The more you make the choice to act in the face of fear, the easier it becomes. Courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. In fact, each time you choose courage over fear, you gain more confidence. That confidence is the foundation of your personal power. You realize that you can handle challenges, that you are capable of more than you thought. Then that fear doesn't have the power to hold you back unless you let it. Courage isn't about being fearless, it's about being fearful and acting anyway. It's about choosing to trust yourself in the process even when you can't predict the outcome. And remember, you don't need to be fearless to be successful. You just need to take the first step, make the choice, and keep moving forward. Every time you act in the face of fear, you build your courage. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Don't wait to feel brave. Instead, make the choice to act, and you'll find that courage will follow. Progress over perfection. We've all been there trying to make something perfect. Whether it's a project, a presentation, a relationship, or even just an idea, the pursuit of perfection can paralyze us. We get stuck in the details, overthink every step, and in the end, either fail to move forward or waste time on something that doesn't truly matter. The truth is, perfection doesn't exist. It's an illusion, a moving target that gets further away the harder you chase it. The quest for perfection often leaves us with nothing to show for our efforts except frustration, self-doubt, and a sense of inadequacy. We tell ourselves that we're not ready, that we need just one more revision, or that we can't take the next step until everything is flawless. But in reality, waiting for perfection means you're waiting to live your life, waiting to act, waiting to create. And in the meantime, life keeps moving forward with or without you. Progress, on the other hand, is real. Progress is something you can track, something you can measure, and something you can feel. Progress is a series of small steps, not giant leaps. It's about taking imperfect action, learning along the way, and adjusting as you go. The beauty of progress is that it's about the journey, not the destination. Every small action you take, even if it's not perfect, moves you closer to your goal. Each attempt, each failure, each lesson learned is part of your growth. Progress teaches you that making mistakes isn't a setback, it's a step forward. The more you focus on making progress rather than chasing perfection, the more momentum you build and the more success you create. Perfection doesn't encourage growth, it stifles it. When you're trying to get everything just right, you're not allowing yourself the space to learn or evolve. Progress, however, embraces the process. It acknowledges that you will make mistakes, but those mistakes are the key to improvement. They are the building blocks of success. Take the example of learning a new skill. At first, you might not be great at it. You might make a lot of mistakes, but each mistake teaches you something valuable, and over time, you'll improve. If you waited until you could do it perfectly, you'd never even begin. But if you focus on making progress, step by step, you'll eventually get to a point where the task feels natural and the idea of perfection becomes irrelevant. What matters is that you did it, you learned, and you grew. Perfection breeds fear because it's tied to the idea that you have to get everything right the first time. It creates pressure to be flawless, and that pressure often paralyzes us into inaction. But when you shift your focus to progress, you take the pressure off yourself. You no longer need to be perfect, you just need to keep moving forward. And that's liberating. The fear of imperfection is the greatest barrier to success. But once you realize that imperfection is part of the process, it becomes easier to take that first step. You learn to embrace the messy, imperfect journey of progress, and as you do, you begin to see that progress, no matter how small, adds up to something much greater than perfection ever could. Start today. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Don't wait until you have all the answers or all the pieces in place. Just take action. Focus on the next step, not the final destination. The more progress you make, the more confident you'll become, and soon you'll realize that it wasn't perfection you were after, it was the journey, it was the growth. And that is where true success lies. So let go of perfection, embrace progress, because the only way to get closer to your goals is to move forward, even if you're not perfect. Every step you take is progress, and that's all you need to create the life you want. fail forward, not backward. Failure is often seen as the ultimate setback, a sign that something went wrong, that we weren't good enough, or that we simply weren't cut out for success. But here's the powerful truth: failure is not the end, it's part of the process. The way you respond to failure determines whether it becomes a setback or a stepping stone. The key is to fail forward, not backward. When you fail forward, you don't let failure stop you. You use it as fuel to move forward. You recognize that failure is not a reflection of your worth or abilities. It's a necessary part of growth. Every successful person in any field has faced failure. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they respond to it. Most of us make the mistake of letting failure define us. We see a setback and we assume it means we're not good enough or that our goal is too far out of reach. We might retreat, doubt our abilities, or even give up entirely. This is failing backward, allowing failure to hold us back, to keep us stuck in fear or self-doubt. But failure isn't a final destination. It's a lesson, a temporary detour, a part of the journey. Failing forward is about changing your perspective. It's about seeing failure as an opportunity to learn, grow, and adapt. Every mistake holds a valuable lesson. The key is to embrace those lessons. When you fail forward, you take what you learned from the experience and apply it to your next attempt. You become better, smarter, and more resilient. Think about the times when you learned the most. Wasn't it after a failure? Maybe you tried something and didn't succeed, but then you took that failure, analyzed what went wrong, and figured out how to improve. That process of learning from your mistakes is what allows you to fail forward. It's the mindset that says, I didn't get it right this time, but now I know how to do it better next time. The reality is that you cannot avoid failure if you're trying to achieve anything worthwhile. You'll make mistakes, you'll experience setbacks, and things won't always go according to plan. The question is, how will you respond? Will you let failure defeat you, or will you use it as a springboard to greater success? Failing forward means staying committed to your vision, even when things don't go as expected. It means choosing resilience over defeat, action over stagnation. Every time you fail forward, you build strength and grit. You reinforce the belief that you can handle challenges and that no single failure will derail you from your long-term goals. In fact, every time you fail and keep going, you're increasing your chances of ultimate success. Failure doesn't mark the end, it's simply another chapter in the story of your growth. One of the greatest examples of failing forward is Thomas Edison, who, after many failed attempts, finally invented the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he famously said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Edison didn't see his failures as a sign to stop. He saw them as experiments, learning opportunities that eventually led him to success. The difference between failing backward and failing forward is the mindset you carry with you. When you fail backward, you allow fear, doubt, and discouragement to take over. When you fail forward, you remain focused on your long-term goals, confident that every failure is just one step closer to finding the solution. Each failure brings you closer to success because you're learning and evolving along the way. So, when you face failure, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What's the next step I can take to improve? Don't let failure define you or stop you from moving forward. Use it as the momentum that propels you to greater heights. Remember, failure is not a dead end. It's just a lesson on the road to success. Keep failing forward and you'll get closer to your goals with every step. Be the architect of your own life. The idea that life happens to us is a common belief. We tell ourselves that we're victims of circumstance, that we're limited by the past, the economy, our upbringing, or other external factors. But here's the truth. You are the architect of your own life. You are not merely reacting to the events around you. You have the power to design and create the life you want to live. Being the architect of your own life means taking full responsibility for the choices you make, the path you follow, and the way you respond to challenges. It means acknowledging that you have control over how you think, what you do, and where you go in life. Your actions, decisions, and mindset are the blueprint for the future you're building. When you realize that you are the architect, you stop blaming external factors for your circumstances. And so instead of pointing fingers at the world, other people, or your past, you turn inward and ask, what can I control? What can I change? What steps can I take today to move closer to the life I desire? It all begins with awareness. Being the architect means acknowledging that the life you are living today is the result of the choices you made in the past. That's both empowering and liberating. If you're not where you want to be, it's not because you're stuck or because something is holding you back. It's because you haven't yet designed the future you want. The process of designing your life isn't about waiting for someone to hand you the keys to success or waiting for everything to fall into place. It's about taking ownership. You can't rely on luck, timing, or other people to create the life you want. You are the one who lays the foundation, builds the structure, and decides on the details. Just like any great architect, you need a vision for your future. What do you want your life to look like in 5, 10, or 20 years? Get clear on your purpose and your goals. Write them down. Imagine the life you truly want financially, emotionally, relationally, and professionally. This vision is the blueprint for your future. Without it, you're just wandering, reacting to whatever comes your way. With it, you have a clear direction and a plan. But a blueprint alone is not enough. You must take action. Every architect needs tools to bring their plans to life. Your tools are your skills, your mindset, and your work ethic. Just as an architect uses materials and a team to build a structure, you must use your resources, time, energy, knowledge, and effort to construct your life. And just like in architecture, things won't always go according to plan. You'll face obstacles, setbacks, and challenges, but if you're committed to being the architect, you will learn to adapt, redesign, and rebuild as necessary. Being the architect also means designing your life intentionally. Stop leaving things up to chance or reacting to whatever life throws at you. You must take a proactive approach to your future. This means making deliberate choices that align with your goals. Choose your daily habits wisely because those small actions compound over time. Every choice, how you spend your time, who you spend it with, what you focus on builds the foundation of your future. Part of being an architect is knowing when to step back and reflect. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and grind, but a true architect takes time to evaluate the design, adjust the blueprint if necessary, and refine the details. If things aren't going as planned, don't be afraid to make changes. If something doesn't work, reassess and shift your approach. Flexibility and resilience are key. And remember, you are in charge of the design process. No one else can dictate the layout of your life. You decide where your energy goes, where your focus lies, and what you prioritize. This is your masterpiece, and you have the tools, the power, and the vision to make it extraordinary. You don't have to wait for anyone else's permission to build the life you desire. It's your life to design. Every step you take, every decision you make brings you closer to the life you've imagined. The future is yours to create, and the only question is, what kind of life do you want to architect? So take the reins. Start with your vision, gather your tools, and take deliberate action. You are the architect of your life. Now start building.